Hi, thank you for choosing this video to watch. You may have seen a previous video where I was experimenting with filling this tank full of water and seeing what kind of sound I could pick up through it. Here's a couple clips from that video. So, one of the problems I had was picking up radio interference when the water level got up to a certain point. And I figured out, it was pretty easy to figure out what the problem was, but I had to go through a process of asking lots of people who were very helpful, so thank you, all of you who helped. And I wanted to show you how I solved that problem, and then what I did beyond. Here's how I shielded my lines from radio interference. I wrapped the positive lead of this Piezo microphone with aluminum foil, but this didn't come from Reynolds wrap. It came from the wrapper for my tea time biscuits. They are the perfect dessert. So eat your biscuits because it's a nice choice, and then use the wrapper to wrap around your lines to protect from radio interference. Also, I took the negative lead from the power source. This is my little power bus, and I connected it. I have two amplifiers, so I connected both of them to this line, which I bolted onto this bolt, and underneath, you can just see it. I have footage later. I'll connect in. I bolted a big piece of metal on the bottom of this piece of wood. And here's the metal sheet that I just purchased at my local consumer hardware store. I wanted to put feet on it to separate it from the ground in case water dripped down from above. I didn't want the water to interfere with this plate, so I put wooden feet on it, but then I realized it wouldn't be level unless I cut pieces of metal and put them under the other feet. So those don't function as ground planes. I guess they could. I guess I could connect this with the metal under here and then under here. But this functions just fine. Whoop. Until it breaks. So that is the ground plane. I could have redesigned this amplifier circuit board so that it had a complete ground plane. I need to interrupt myself here just for a moment to emphasize that you don't need to amplify the signal that's coming out of a piezo element just to be able to record it. You can just glue a piezo element to something like this piece of metal and stick a jack on it and then patch that right into your mixer or your tape recorder. And I have a little tape recorder here that I like to play with because it has speed controls. So once I've recorded it, I can slow it down or speed it up and change the sound. So just to show you what I mean, I'm going to take this, which I used in a separate video about spring reverb, and I'll put a little link up here for that if you're curious. And all I'm going to do is just stick it under here to get it to contact with the metal of this gorgeous metal rack that was handmade by me. And I'm going to play that for a little bit and then come back. So that's a sound that can be produced just by taking the signal straight from the piezo element right into a tape player. And I've used the same idea by cementing a piezo element inside this little watertight tin and attaching a jack to it and putting that to a tape player. So I could take it out into the field and make recordings that way. So that's what you'll be seeing now. Here's the inside of the speaker. That's the piezo element. And this is the lid that I've wired and glued a little hook onto because I discovered that it wasn't quite heavy enough to sink. So I'm going to be attaching this weight to it. So that's a speaker, and this is the same idea for the microphone. The microphone, I had a problem with the twisted wires forming a gap that allowed water in. So I got to glue that up a little better. I've solved that problem by not twisting the wires on the speaker. I'm just going to stick it in there and then hot glue it from the inside. To the lid of this, I've wired a couple weights. I know it looks bad, but they're 6 each, so they're 12, and it should keep this down. So the first experiment I'm going to be doing is using it as a speaker, and I tried to use these weights as the contact to transmit the sound through the tank so that the microphones can pick it up. But it didn't quite work. So what I'll be doing is playing a little tune on my keyboard and trying to send sound that way, and then I'm going to set up a little sequence on the keyboard so that it plays itself while I manipulate the speaker in different ways around that tank. Obviously, this could have gone on for 45 more minutes. I'm not going to subject you to that. 3 minutes is enough. So what I did next was I took the same configuration, and instead of putting it in the output, I put it in the input, and I recorded sounds outside. I went to Mahoney State Park here in Nebraska, and just out to discover what sounds I could make by pressing the tin can against some surface. I hope you enjoy that. Here you see my preliminary excursion out into the city just to test out the microphone to see if it worked. And you'll notice that I hadn't actually figured out that I needed to weight it down yet. So it kind of floats, but in the fountain, that's okay. That sounds good.